Boom. We're live.
We're here. We have y'all missed part of the conversation, but
Great. We're not
we're ready
ready
now.
to unleash just yet, but it was a great warm up. And we will talk about it because I think it is a
Let's talk.
worthy conversation.
It is a worthy conversation that, well, whenever we talk about it, we have to be ready to fight for our lives in the comments
Oh,
because the
for sure.
people are not going to like it. But
They're
today,
not.
well, they might not like this. You
I
know
was
what?
about to say, what are we saying?
Well, you know what? Y'all might not like any of these conversations, but here we are. Welcome to Unplanted. This is a podcast about surviving spirituality as a millennial, I would say. We're
Yeah.
figuring out where our place is, what we should do. We are here, two cousins, Bible nerds, and former church employees, I guess we could say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now we're here. We started this in two when was it?
One of
2018?
18, 19,
We started when Ruby Tuesdays was still open. Whenever that was.
Where's the guy who brought Red Lobster back? Let's get him for Ruby
Can you
Tuesday.
bring back the Ruby Tuesdays? Because that's where we had the best ideas.
We did. That salad bar was getting us through it.
Yeah, we would go to Ruby Tuesdays, okay? Sit in these people's restaurant for hours
Till they closed.
till they closed, just ranting, raving, and then we would come up with a great idea, and then
And now you're
we would
getting it in 2026.
and now we are here.
Let it cook.
Yeah, we had to let it marinate. It had to get it was in the crock pot for a very long time, but now we're here. So welcome to Unplanted. We're excited. Episode 2. And Whitney, what is the name of today's episode?
Um, well, hi guys. Today we're gonna talk about church is a scam.
Church is a scam. Now, y'all heard it. You just heard me say we are two former church employees. So, insider knowledge.
We
Church is a
know
scam.
firsthand experience, church is a scam.
Mhm.
But there's good news on the other side.
Yeah, we got plenty of good news. Well, church is a scam, but
Mhm.
not all churches are scamming. Okay, there are plenty of scammers in the church. The grand scheme of things, it is a scheme that Todd set up
Hello?
to come to us. Yeah,
Specifically us.
typically us with a whole lot. So, anywho, we have learned. We have Whitney was a church employee for 20 years. How
Baby.
many years was it?
Um, I mean about 14?
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's insane.
Yeah.
Well, today is actually my ministry anniversary. I was licensed
Happy
this day. Thank
anniversary.
you. 2018.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah. What a time. I remember you when you put your collar on. I remember. No, I wasn't supposed to
You
say that.
know, because if we had if we had some effects, I would put that picture up. Y'all, okay, y'all. When we say we was at the people's churches, we was not playing like I was real licensed with a collar,
Mhm,
wearing it, serving communion.
mhm. Yeah. We're
Mhm.
not kidding about, like, the whole thing. We really have been in the thick of it, and, like, even prior to being church employees, I think we have to count the years of experience we had as youths growing up in the church where we were free employees
Ooh,
because our
okay.
mamas, were Sunday school teachers or over the usher board. I've been to more church business meetings than some pastors.
Because they're not going to the meetings no way.
No.
But we'll get into that later.
Hmm.
And churches where they get the most free labor, because y'all have taken what does it serve as unto the Lord? Y'all have taken that and ran it into the grounds and taken it out of context, and y'all got these people out here serving for free. Should they do some stuff for free? Yes, but the amount of work that a lot of people do for free, diabolical.
Yep. Yep. There's a post that I saved from Threads. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna read it later, as we get into the conversation about a young lady who was serving in a church, and it really made me sad. So we'll talk about it later. I'm gonna find it.
We'll talk about it. So I'll just say when I realized church was a scam. So I grew up in a very legalistic church, and it wasn't I didn't know it was a scam back then. I just thought it just didn't align with the Bible. I was like, well, this is just crazy. It just doesn't make any sense. Until I got older and then I got into like actual ministry, and I was like, it's a lot going on here. And a lot of the like in the meetings, it wasn't a lot of let's talk about the gospel. It was a lot of let's get people to come, let's fill the seats. Easter was the worst time of my life because it's a Super Bowl for churches. And let's do all these productions, not because he bled, died, and rose from the grave, but because we have metrics to meet. And I'm like, y'all for real? Like this is really what is happening here. And yes,
Mhm.
there should be business parts. It's a building. It has to
True.
run. There are employees that have to be paid. Like I'm not saying that that's inappropriate. I'm saying sometimes these methods are not actual ministry.
That part. That part. I think a lot of people become disillusioned because you go into ministry, even if you apply for a job to work at a church, you go into ministry because you think it is the ultimate way for you to serve people. Like some people say, I want a job where I want to help people. So sometimes people become, nurses or firefighters or teachers. Those are helping professions. And people go into that because they know I'm genuinely going to be able to help somebody.
Therapist.
Similarly, in the church, people are like, I want to do this because I want to help people. And you're thinking, man, like this is like the pinnacle of where I can help people because we are the church. That's our whole mission statement.
Yeah.
And then you get in there and it's like, just kidding. We actually are trying our hardest not to help you. Cause what?
I think and some of it is yes, people take advantage of things. Yes, people think that the church should do more sometimes than what is actually required. Because sometimes I'm like, okay, well, y'all actually need to go to an actual resource. You know what I
Right.
mean? But when the church doesn't see people as people is when I think it has gone left. Like we see it as production, we see
Yep.
it as we got to fill the seats, we see it as our social media has to look a certain way, we
Yep.
see it as we got to get a certain number of baptism numbers. And I'm like, okay, but what happens with the soul after Sunday?
Yep. Yeah. What
I'm there.
what
Where are we
was
following up at? How are we, engaging with people? How are we even in that part at the church that I was in, it was we got to make sure we follow up because this is also part of our process. Not because we really care, but because we have to send these letters after, because we
Yep.
have to connect them with somebody after, because then they go into this next phase. And when they're in that phase, then they're more likely to serve. And if they're more likely to serve, then they're more likely to give. And they're more likely to give, then we can do this, and this. And I was like,
Yep.
huh?
Yep.
Are y'all good? Y'all well?
Because they have take I think what has happened is that one, we're in the age of social media. We all know that.
Mhm.
And there is this like business growth mindset on social media where it's like you got to have a lead magnet and then you got to get them in the funnel and you got to funnel them through. We've taken that mentality over to the church because it works.
It works, yeah.
It's a business strategy. I mean, it works. Like it's marketing. You put something out there for people, you get them in your funnel, you email them and text and blast them. They're going to eventually show up. However, what what's our purpose? What are we bringing them to? And are we bringing them to the house because we want to be, y'all love these little phrases, the hospital for humanity? Or are you bringing them because you want free labor? You want people who are going to then jump into the back of the funnel and start funneling more people in. That's where the scam
It's
that
giving MLM. Now it's a multi-level marketing scam as well. It's a lot of scamming going
mm, that's the
on,
main scam.
scamming at the church.
Mhm,
Truly. Because, I
mhm,
mean, if you think about it, then you've got your group leaders, right? Your small
mhm.
group people, they got to bring their people and then they graduate and then they become this person that, ooh, not as MLM.
It's an
A
MLM.
divine in MLM. That's what the church
It
is.
is.
Y'all ought to be ashamed of
It
yourselves.
is. And they should be ashamed because I can't tell you, and I know you know people, but I can't tell you how many people that I talk to in a week. Like, I don't know why I just seem like a magnet to people to tell their business, but apparently I am. I literally went to Walmart yesterday because if you don't know, this is so random, but this is Walmart's is their clearance time. So they had some dresses in there for $3. So I went.
Ooh.
Yeah, just FYI. I don't know why I needed to tell y'all that, but amen.
Hey, but the people need to
Anyway,
know
they do because times are hard. Gas is high.
everything's
And
God.
go to Walmart. I go in there for two little cute dresses that I wanted. One of them was denim and it was so cute. Get to the line and the lady just starts talking to me about making her own bread. And I was like, okay, like, thank you for teaching me how to make bread. Then she said, do you go to church? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, I don't fool with church no more. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I don't know why she asked me this, but I was like, I'm so sorry to hear that. And she goes, yeah, because, I was going to this church. And to Cheryl, know as I get into this, what church I'm talking about. She's like, I was going to this church, and then all they wanted me to do was come to meetings, serve for this, come to this. They wasn't even feeding us. And I was using my gas, going back and forth. Then they want to open a new church. Now I got to go work the new church. And I was like, oh, I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, there are some good churches around. So I tried to, make some suggestions to her. But she was like, I'm burnt out. And she said, if they want to get me back in a church, they going to have to promise me that I could sit on the pew for the rest of my life. I was like, yes, ma'am. I was like, you have a
See,
good one, girl. Good luck with that bread. So people are worn out because volunteering should not make people feel like a slave.
right. The value is missing again because we don't see people as people, right? So we
Mhm.
feel they feel entitled to these people and their free labor. And let's just be honest, like a lot of times when people do start going to church, you're vulnerable, you're probably going through something or whatever, right? And you're open
Mhm.
to this place that's supposed to be safe. So you feel as though you can give yourself there. Turns out sometimes the place isn't safe. And so then, yes, you quickly get burnt out because you're not giving for a real reason.
Right.
You're just there because you feel obligated.
Yeah.
You're there because, sometimes you've been a little bit emotionally abused. Okay. Sometimes you
Mhm.
might have been a little bit manipulated if you don't come and serve. You're
Mhm.
not, fulfilling your Christian duties, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, you're burnt out, and the church. I mean, and the church gets a bad rap. Sometimes it's not all them, but if
Right.
we present Jesus in a way, and I feel like all of this might have a little bit of, some a solution because
Right.
he gets lost. Y'all ain't even really talking about the man.
No, because I'm like, do we really need the kayaking small group and the badminton small group and I think those are great things. But if they exist without a place for people to like study the Bible, learn the word, understand who Jesus is, like we immediately want to usher people into like these specialty small groups, but we don't want to usher them into like biblical formation and foundational scripture reading.
Well, don't nobody want to do that.
I know, but The
They don't.
YMCA is right there. Just saying.
Well, the core of the church, I believe, is missing. So, like you said, like when we take out the foundational scripture part and we take out really why we're here, then we do focus a lot on the community part, which is necessary. But,
Sure.
we got to go back to Acts, though, because the people were gathering together, okay? They were doing life. They might have been kayaking, we don't know. But
Maybe.
they also were praying, they were together. They didn't have the Bible then, obviously, but they were discussing what they'd seen, what they'd heard, what, Peter was out here talking about. And that is what brought them together. The
Yeah. They at
word
least had
brought
the
them together.
Torah, you
They
know?
oh, they did. And they were eating, having a great time. People bills was getting paid because they was like,
Yep.
"Hey, I'm gonna sell this, so you can pay this." And
Yep.
that's how it all started.
Eh,
And somehow, and I'm always go back to this, somehow we got into this dark room with the smoke machines, and I don't know how we got here.
right. I
How did it happen?
I think about the church in Acts so frequently. Like I think about it a lot because I think that at its simplest, it's what we say we want. Like when we talk about community, that is community. Like it's everything you need. It's the soup kitchen, it's the cooperative economics, it is
Mm-hmm.
Bible study. It's
Hmm.
everything that you could look for in a community, in that group of people.
Yeah.
And because it was working so well, like the word even tells us that God added to their numbers daily.
Every day. Okay. Every
And
day.
and so I go back to us talking about like this objective to get people in and all, like if we really were to do community, and I'm not saying that I'm against small groups. Okay, I'm lying. I don't love small groups.
Oh
I don't
wow.
love the small group model. And I'll tell you why. Because I think it is a a a faux attempt at community.
Okay, I see that.
It's me trying to say, "Hey, I love you. I'm gonna bring you to this thing. We're gonna do a semester. It's gonna be great." But like, I don't really get to know. I've been in many small groups, and I've always left them like, "Huh, that was
No, I get that.
interesting,"
Yeah.
because there's not a lot of depth in us in that situation, in the models that we have. And unfortunately, most churches are running the same models, like from coast to coast. And I tell you this as someone who has been in a lot of churches. Like every kind of church you can think of, I've probably been in it. I could close my eyes and go to a church in California right now, and then someone zip me over to Nebraska. It's the same church.
Yeah.
It's the same church.
Well, like you said, they found the model that worked. I got my gripe with a certain
Mhm.
organization that I'm
Mhm.
like, y'all please
Mhm.
stop carbon copying and, mass producing these churches just because
Mhm.
your model works. You're missing out on the real ministry and the people. But it's
Yes.
like with the small groups, if churches are built now on vanity, right? This so, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just not built on true foundation, then
Right.
yeah, you can't be vulnerable in a small group because the church is built on vanity. So you can't
Right.
vulnerably go into a place that isn't really deep and get what you need. I've been,
Yeah.
in small groups, I've led small groups,
Same.
attempt for it to be safe and for it to be real, but also church has this, reputation that you can't really be yourself there. Like you come to your small group, you want to be real, and then somebody being extra deep, somebody they playing in your face, and it's like, I want to come here and tell y'all. I was married at the time. I want to come here and tell y'all that my husband got on my nerves, and what do I do? But I can't
Mhm.
say that in here
Yeah.
because y'all gonna look at me like you're not praying enough. You know what I'm saying? Or you're not
Mhm.
who you're supposed to be. So when you're not able to be vulnerable in the church as a whole, in the small group or whatever,
Yeah.
then what do we have? We have these shells of, you know, this sacred place that it's supposed to be, but it's not really reaching what it's supposed to reach.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why you go and it's like you can't connect and you're just there and we're going in and out and it's just tradition at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, it's like it's a thing to do. And I also, this might be controversial. I'm sorry,
Ooh,
Tashara. I
say
apologize. I also think that the small group, let me back up. Let me back up. Because I
it.
got to walk you to this point
We
before I
need
can
a
say it.
we need like a Whitney warning. Yes. And it's gonna pop up when
I'm
you
so
about to do your big
sorry.
one.
She invited me to do this, and she didn't know my brain has been churning on these subjects for years. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what's really grinding my gears,
Go
and
ahead.
why a big part of why I think church is a scam right now. I am blown away by the amount of times I have heard pastors get in the mic and laugh and say, I don't even like people. Uh,
Well, okay. So, you
that
know, I
can
get
be true. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I get these Barna statistics to my phone.
Hmm.
And the newest one, I'm sorry, these people have not done the yard work all day.
I
And
can't
I
hear it.
said, okay, and well, I can. So if you see me looking, because they out here do it's all the equipment. They weed eating, mowing the grass,
They got
sweeping,
an
mopping.
excavator.
And I'm just like, earlier today, I was like, they didn't come do the grass. It's fine. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm back. He was like
Right.
at the window,
This is
just
our real life, okay? Our real life. My dog
glad you
might feel
can't
like
hear
it.
it
I
because
can't.
it's pandemonium outside my window. Anywho, so these Barna facts are saying that, let me see, in 2015, that it was 64% of pastors who said that they were good. They love their jobs. They love their vocation. They didn't want to be bivocational. They didn't want to go get another job, nothing. And now we are down to a 20-point decline where they're saying not only do they not like their job, but also they not going to leave it. So you're admitting that you're burnt out, you're tired, but you're also saying, but we in here and I'm not going to do anything else. So then I'm like, you're statistically telling us that you're gonna keep scamming.
Gonna keep scamming. And I know that may have felt like I took a left turn, but to consistently hear pastors say, I don't like people. I
Mm-hmm.
don't even like people. God had to make me do this. I don't even like people. That might be true. You might really not like people.
Mm-hmm.
But then your dislike of people comes out in how you run your church. So small groups to me then become more opportunities for you not to touch your people. Now I'm
Mm-hmm.
now I get to just put Susie and Jake and Jaquan and whoever else over. I'm sorry, that was just in my head. Over the small group, they run it. They aren't getting paid though. Small group leaders don't get paid. These are
Yeah.
volunteers. Bless their little hearts. So
Mm-hmm.
they're doing this. They're running these groups semester after semester, week after week, and now the pastor is having less and less contact with the congregation.
I see that.
Sunday morning is your one time that you see them because most churches don't do Bible studies anymore.
And bring back the Bible studies, y'all, because we do not want the midweek service. I'm sorry, I
No,
don't want it. Or
no.
if you're gonna
Thank
have
God my
it,
church does Bible study. Thank you, Lord.
because I don't like the midweek. I
Yeah.
don't, and I guess I understand like people can't come on Sundays or something. I don't know, baby. Just bring me a Bible study, please. That's
Bring back
this is the
Bible
problem,
study.
and bring back Sunday school. But anyway,
So I say all that to say, like, I feel like as we're like genuinely as we're talking about this being a scam, I think one of the scams is that people are becoming pastors without the heart of a pastor?
Well, okay, and then we go back to, since this is a business, what is the job description of a pastor, guys? Right? Because
Mm.
we're allowing these people to be leaders of a flock. And it's important that you said that they don't like people, because they're sheep and you're leading them and you have to care for them and you have to, like Jesus, leave the 99 to go find Sister Mary over here who is disgruntled because of whatever,
Yeah,
right? That's, or to delegate that, whatever. But that's
sure.
the job of the heart of a pastor, is
Yeah,
actually to love people. And so when we talk about what they're supposed to be doing, and it's not always preaching either. Because listen, because let me say this, this is my Tashara warning. Listen, every pastor is not a preacher and every preacher is not a pastor.
that
So if
part.
you really just do have a heart for people, go love people. Y'all be on these stages and y'all don't be talking about nothing. And then y'all get mad about your attendance or whatever. And it's like, because your lane is loving people. Love people well and let the preachers preach and the teachers teach.
That part. That part.
I
Yeah.
had to get that out.
That girl, preach the word. Because I feel like we are, and we have, as the church, and I say we because I've been a part of the church for so long.
Mm,
And yes, I've tried to stand up against these things and fight back against these things, but I've watched so many people be broken because there are
yeah,
people who are leaders and you don't love people.
yeah,
And I I think I mentioned this in the last episode, but like that's baffling to me because the more, I'm telling you, the more I study my word, the more I understand who God is. Like I be looking at people and just crying. And I'm like, girl,
I love this.
why are you crying? Cause like look at her. That's Jesus' little baby. Like that really brings me joy. And so I can't
Yeah,
imagine having a profession where like number one on the job description is like leading people. And you're
yeah.
like, I don't really like people. And I'm not saying God can't call people who don't like people and change their heart, but when the heart gonna change?
Heavy on when the heart gonna change.
I don't want
Heavy.
to go to a church where my pastor says he doesn't like people. Now I don't feel safe.
Well, and it makes me think about other occupations. Like if I came into therapy saying, I don't really like people, but I'm here so I can help you through the most traumatic part of your life, you would be like, okay, well, I will not be returning to see
Thank you
you
for your
because
time.
what? Right. So I mean, I see how, and again, it just goes back to how we've lost the heart of things. And also, y'all, listen, God does not force us to do anything. So when people are saying God made you do something or whatever, if you know you have a calling and you're begrudgingly doing that, I beg, don't do it.
Also,
Go
maybe you
seek
weren't called.
God, get your heart right, and be okay with it. And yes, there is some hesitancy. I mean,
Sure.
there's a hesitancy with a lot of things, but at the end of the day, I'm like, God, you know what? You gave me this to do. I don't know why, because I don't know what you had going on when you was thinking this is great for me to do, but since you are mindful of me, I love that. And I will do this even though I don't want to, because I love you enough to know that you're going to help me through it. You've called me to do it. Nah, he forced me to do it. I'm up here just preaching and teaching because I ain't got nothing else to do.
Right.
Please don't.
Like you, maybe no, like maybe you misheard. Anyway, I
Or maybe you needed a job.
that part.
Anywho.
I think I'm gonna ask you a question. Let me get
Okay.
off my soapbox. So, okay, we're talking about church being a scam because
Mm-hmm.
most of it is, unfortunately, just a copy
Okay.
paste. What do you think? What does a church look like to you that's not a scam?
Ooh. Let me dream up my perfect. idea here. Okay, I will say this. And let me say this. We are not ragging on the church. The church is beautiful. It is Christ's
The church
bride. Okay,
Jesus
y'all.
created is not a scam. I don't know what y'all got going.
Heavy on that. The church Jesus created is not a scam. I think that's what I think about though. So I think about a place. I don't think of it as a structured Sunday at all. I think of it as, well, I guess we do have to choose a day. We'll choose a day. I think of it as a Sunday where there is no stage.
Mm,
Okay. I want no stage. Y'all already know. I want the lights on. Okay. And I know churches are big now, but I want us all in a circle. And I want it to be a comfortable place where, we singers. So somebody singing something.
come on.
Okay. And we just experience the presence of God. And then there is conversation. So, yes, somebody who is skilled, qualified should be leading this circle of people and teaching something, but also vulnerable input from other people. You know what I mean? Like, let's just sit here and read the scripture, talk about it, and allow it to be a powerful group instead of this, you're up here and we're in a hierarchy,
Yeah.
right? And let's level the playing field. Now,
Yeah.
yes, there has to be leaders and there has to be decency and order. I'm not saying
Sure.
that. But I see it as a relaxed, free environment where I really do know that I'm safe. And also, I feel like the presence of God can be safe there too. Not that the
Mhm.
presence ain't everywhere,
Right.
but it can get choked and it can get stifled
Mhm.
out by all the shenanigans.
'Cause one thing y'all gonna do is shenan again.
Okay. And I like a little carrying on, y'all. I'm going back to my roots. Okay. I
Come on.
like a little carrying on, but I feel as though the carrying on is what dilutes everything. Because I've seen carrying on that's been so pure that I'm like, this is my kind of carrying
Yeah.
on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it dilutes it and then it makes us perform again. So I just
Yeah.
want it to be a place where people are free enough to be themselves. The presence of God is able to freely work without people feeling like they have to perform. And then there is actual teaching of the Bible in a community setting where people can respond appropriately.
I love that. I
Mhm.
wanna go to that church.
Well,
Yeah. I love that.
yeah,
I think I love the no stage. Like, I think
not
that's so
stage.
beautiful. Um, yeah, I think I really want people to have a place. Like, honestly, I'm thinking about so many conversations that I've had with people and, just that lady yesterday, and how much people feel like they don't belong in church.
Yeah, yeah.
If I don't live up to this standard, if I don't give all of my time, if I don't whatever, then then the only option for me is to not be there. So many
See,
people
and that
come to
breaks
that
my heart.
conclusion, right? Because so many people come to that conclusion like if I can't do this, then I remove me. And I just think about how many people are sitting at home with the love of Christ in their heart, with the desire to really like learn about God and be there for people, but they're like, ugh, I can't. The structure of the church is not the way that I can do that.
Well, what if we made small groups sacred then? So, like, instead of like, yes, have the church out. So we take the small groups
I'm in.
that are created with it, because I do believe that there is good intention there. With the
Good
intention,
intention.
yeah, that you form a community with people. But we make that, baby, we maybe have to go back to the house. We make that we come into somebody's house and somebody, you know what I mean? And we are in a comfortable, safe place. We can freely be ourselves. And we're going to talk about the word because that is necessary in a
Yep.
non judgmental space.
Yep.
We're going to sing, we're going to pray, and we're going to go home.
Yes. Yeah. I
And
believe
y'all
in
can take up
general.
an offering in there and have, your pot of money for your people who need it.
Yes. 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 I can't find that post from that girl. I was looking for it a little bit ago, but I'm gonna give you the sentiment of it. She was going to this church, popular large church, and she had been serving there for 7 years.
Mm.
She loved it. Like she felt like she was giving to the people. She gets sick. She has like 3 kids. She gets sick. She has 3 kids, and then she gets laid off in the big government layoff last year. She goes to this church, big church, popular church, and says, "Hey, I need some help." She's been serving there for 7 years, and they were like, "Nah." And she was so like I was reading through her post and you could tell she sounded like a person who'd been abused, who was
Mm,
she was bewildered because she was like,
mm,
"What did I do wrong? Did I
mm.
not was it did you think they looked at how much I gave? Do you think that it was that I didn't give enough?
Oh
Had I
my
not been
God.
serving there long enough?" And I was just like, "Oh, like she thinks she did something wrong." And I'm like,
Mm,
this breaks my heart. And this is why we have to get back to the church at Acts. It's why, like you're saying, going into somebody's home, having a more intimate connection, really
mm.
knowing people, because it's easy for me when I'm in the business of church to look at a form and say, she doesn't seem like she
Right,
deserves it. Next.
right, right.
But when I look at you in your eye and I know Tashara, I know who you are. I see you every Wednesday at small group and we sit by each other and we maybe have cried at the same, biblical
Mhm.
passage and you held my hand and we've eaten and broke bread together. And then
Yeah,
you say, "Hey, I lost my job." Then I'm in my purse. Like
we
I may
coming.
not even have it for real, but I'm
Yeah,
like, "Oh no, not my girl."
yeah. That connection part is important
Mhm.
that we miss out on, especially as churches are getting bigger and more obscene, honestly. We miss
Yeah.
out on that connection part. Personal story. Well, I went back to church for a little
Mhm.
bit. Didn't serve because hold on, guys. We
Taking a
put,
break.
we're getting our foot back in here.
Mhm.
But during that shutdown, and our city was affected so much because of, the people who work here in the businesses and all the things. And so going to we not being affected by the furloughs or anything, but going to the church and saying, "Hey, we have noticed so many things have happened. What are y'all doing to help and how can we help y'all help?" Right? Asking not only what are you doing, but how can we also help? Not asking y'all for anything, but how to help. And they said, "We're not concerned about that." And in my mind, I'm like, in this city where literally the majority of the city works government, right? These people are laid off and don't know it's just a lot. And so they said, we're not doing anything about it. And I understand you can't do everything for everybody,
Sure.
but you can do something. And if people are coming to you offering to help, what I mean, let us take that on and figure out some sort of something. That was so disheartening to me. And been in church forever, heard all this before, but it was like, and now I have to do something. So our organization did do something, but I was like, the fact that this fell on us because
Right.
we small. It's just a few of us, baby. We ain't got we
Right.
got what we got. But
Right.
we're going to this larger organization that we know got it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
And we know cares about all these people who come here on Sunday and they serve and they do all the things. And now it's time to give back to your internal. We good with giving back to the tent city, the homeless, going overseas, the suit, all the things. But internally,
Yep.
when your people need help, that is when they turn them away. And that's how I'm like, we have lost the value in it.
We have. We
We
have.
got,
We
it's giving Acts 2 church coming to a living room near you.
Come on. Listen. Where 2 or
This
3
is this is enough.
I have been thinking about this for a few years. I think that, I think that the church, especially the American church as it is, to me, in a sense, and I say this as someone who is privileged to be a member of a church that is wonderful. When I tell you I love my church,
Same.
when the shutdown happened, like baby, they were Johnny on the spot. They're still paying money to people. Like, love my church. So I'm privileged in that way, and it feels like an anomaly in the
Well,
sea of
it
where
is.
we are. I just think fundamentally the church is broken.
Mm.
And
Another system that's broken.
yes, it's just another system that is broken.
Mhm.
And I think that it's going to take some people with the courage to strip that all back and say, I'm willing to, like, let's build something that's new. And let's do it without the ego of I need to be the senior vice whatever of the whatever, and we need this auxiliary and that, like, we need it without the ego of all of that. That says, I deeply love Christ. I want to share his teachings. He's the teacher we've chosen to follow. So why are we not more concerned with sharing his teachings? And I want to do it by loving other people that are around me and being deeply committed to the community. That's what I want.
And that's what's sad is I just perked up like, yeah, that sounds amazing. And then I thought, well, man, why why do we not have that?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
is I mean, and there again, I always have to say this. There are great churches. I'm also a part of a church that is wonderful, does
Mhm.
all like truly wonderful. But
They are
again, like
wonderful.
you said, anomaly, right? And I
Mhm.
don't, and I'm a virtual member, so I don't live in that space. And I'm sure I mean, they have small groups. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Mhm.
sure there are ways to be better connected when you're not in the same city as a place, but it's also like the fact that we have to search for these places and then still create our own space
Mhm.
can feel a little exhausting, especially for people who have been in church and in ministry since we came out the womb and we're just like, we've been missing the plot my
Mhm.
whole life. When are we gonna get on one accord?
Come
Which
on.
was also important in Acts 2. They was all on one accord.
They were on one accord.
Mhm.
On one accord. And that's why, in the words of Tashara, we need to be reading our Bibles. Because I think,
Yo,
well,
you
like,
got
I
to read your
really
Bible.
read your Bible, because I think if more, like, if we were really, y'all be cracking me up. I'm chronically online. I can't lie.
Same.
And y'all be cracking me up online because y'all love to be like, I love this church because it's Bible based and they don't do nothing but teach the unadulterated word of God. Y'all love to say that. Y'all love to say that. And then y'all act nothing like what the Bible says to act like. And so there's a disconnect for me. There's a disconnect for me.
I mean, it's just like, well, before we press record, and we were talking about exegesis and eisegesis, and the people just out here reading, and we all reading the same Bible, and we're not all coming away with the same thing. I wonder, yes, I want y'all to read it, but now I got to let you know you got to read it within context. You got to read it without your pride in it, without your projection, with a clear, open mind, with your open heart to be convicted by. Like
Yes.
there are
Without
also
your
stipulations.
2026 worldview. Mhm.
That
That's
part,
one. Because
because
Jesus didn't live in 2026. He's still relevant in 2026. However, some of those things were Second Temple Jewish customs.
I was about to say, because we got to talk about context, culture, right, and also customs.
Mhm.
Because y'all have taken these things and said, do not, do not, do not, do not.
Right.
It's I love when people talk about how women shouldn't speak or whatever in the Bible because Paul was going off on the Corinthians.
Don't get me started.
Okay, but anyway,
Get me started.
so
I
like,
literally just sat on my hands because I had to control myself.
because if
But this is why we need, honestly, and truly, it's why church has to be about more than just cattle calling people into the building,
yeah,
to
yeah,
cattle call more people into the building. Like, the fact that this is where we've landed, that it's just about growth and getting more people and more people and more people, but then we get them there and we are not. I'm trying to find like really kind words. Let me work on it. We
you
get them
find it,
there,
you find
and
it.
our objective is not to make them more loving. Too often, our objective is just to make them one of us. And that's a problem for me. Okay.
Yeah, we want the growth, but without the gospel.
Yeah.
So if we make the gospel the foundation, because again, if we're going back to Acts 2, there was never a let's go find people. There was never, they did go out, but
Sure.
in the beginning, it was this is what we heard. Oh, you heard that too? We're
Yeah.
connecting on a truth, and that truth is what influenced them to actually do life. That truth said, oh, and let me invite her over for dinner.
Mhm.
And that truth said, and let me sell this because she said that she needs this. And that truth is what connected them together, and that's the truth that added to them daily.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if we're missing that part of it, we're focused on the growth. Let's get the
Yeah.
people, let's get the people. And then you don't feed them when they get there. So
Right.
yes, if you starving somebody, they're gonna get fed up and they're
Mhm.
out of there. And then
Yeah.
now they're scarred, they're broken, and we don't even have time to touch on this, but then their relationship with God is also affected
Mhm.
because we also don't have personal relationships. We're not reading the Bible. We're just going to church and you think that's all you need, and that's
Yep.
not all you need. That church is really the supplement. Your relationship is every day,
Yep.
okay? Church is the supplement to that because you're
Yep.
feeding yourself, you're building every day, but we make church the main thing, and it's not.
Yeah.
So then now they don't, now they don't believe in God anymore because the way that the people treated them.
All right.
And so I used to be like, well, you can't hate the church. It's the people, not God. But then, I mean, I see it because we're his representatives. Y'all out here acting
Yeah.
a fool. And they don't have enough knowledge to know how to differentiate.
Yeah.
You can't
I
blame them
mean,
folks.
and you do it. I mean, people do that for everything. Like, if you go to school and you have a bad school experience,
Hmm.
you don't value school after that.
Hmm.
You don't say, school is still great. It's just my school. No, most of the time people are like, I hate school. School is
Yeah,
stupid. Because that's the like logical jump that people make.
yeah.
And especially when you've been emotionally hurt, that's so easy to make that jump.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that every time somebody comes to the church that we're going to get it right. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're going to mess it up. Like, I think about times when I was growing up, anytime like a young girl would come to church, they try to make her my friend. I wasn't exactly friendly.
Hey,
I was like, hey, because I was awkward. And I was like, why would y'all send me? I'm not a person you put on the
y'all,
welcome wagon.
we
Okay.
cousins and we didn't even want to be friends. We actual family.
We literally were like, I
They
remember I
was
was
like,
in your bedroom because my mama had come to we had come to your house. I was in your bedroom. We were not speaking
because
words.
I was like, why is she here? What is
And I
this?
was like, why am I here? So I'm not a person to put on the welcome wagon. Okay. It's not me. However, so I know that there have been times that even I've probably like shunned a person who was like, dang, like she should be nice. We're at church. I get it. We're not gonna get it right every single time. I think what we're saying though is like the system is broken.
Yeah.
The behind the scenes of the whole thing, it's the Wizard of Oz.
And we don't have time to talk about all the people who have worked or been leaders in a church. And you see that nasty background and you see that filthy behind the scenes, and you say, I have enough growth, knowledge, and maturity to separate this, but still church is a
Still,
scam, you know? This
yes,
this is not
yes,
right. I can stay here, I can serve, I can do my part, but then you still have I'm not that I'm scarred because I'm not. But once you leave that, you can never go to a church and just be a regular member,
no,
spectator, be there because you're thinking this person tired because they probably been here all morning and they gotta go say, ooh, they're going to the back. Somebody probably having, you know what I'm saying? Like you
mhm,
can never, ever,
mhm,
ever, 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 ever be
mhm,
regular once you've seen that. So then there's that emotional bearing because I want to go and sit. Okay. I want to go and be normal. But with all that you see, that's hard
yeah.
to unsee.
It is hard, and I wrestle with that within my own self. Like, I I remember when I first left my old church, and the first Sunday that I went to another church, I had an anxiety attack in the car outside them people's church because I was like, "Ooh, I don't wanna go in here," because I've I've worked Sundays. I know that you might get somebody nice at the door, but you might not.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be like, are they gonna make me sit in a seat that I don't wanna sit in? Because I wanna sit in the back." Yeah, I love to try to make people sit places. All those things are going through my head, and I get in there, like, the people are neutral, it's not good, it's not bad, and I sit down, and I remember just being so uncomfortable, and that made me cry. I'm a crier, I be crying in
Mm-hmm.
commercials, but it made me cry because I was just like, "Oh god, I'm uncomfortable in a place that has been, like, home for me my entire life, but because of, like, circumstances and people, I am deeply uncomfortable," and that was years ago. Even to this day, when I go in church sometimes, I'm still kinda, like, discombobulated.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how someone who's a new believer feels when they have a bad experience and then they try again. Like, I can't even fathom because for me, I'm like, what church is church is church. I've been to a million churches. I can
Yeah.
push myself through. But
Yeah.
for someone who's a new believer, like that has to be hard to do. And that's why
Yeah.
we have to get this right. Like,
Mhm.
we have to get it right.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say the reflection question for today would be how can you get it right? What is it that you think that you could do to improve people's experience with God? So not fix the church cuz that's like fixing the criminal justice system, baby. I don't know if we can do it. I don't know. But we do have enough influence, I feel like, in our communities, in our circle of influence, to where we can figure out how to do, even if it's just you and your girls go to brunch. That's easy. We
Yeah.
gonna text, we're gonna go get these mimosas on a Saturday,
Mhm.
right? You translate that into, okay, well, why don't we do a Bible study together
Yeah.
the next day? Still go get your mimosas. We're not saying that, but learning how to experience God together
Yeah.
in a way that's outside of this mass produced structure that we've now that's now come about. And again, go to church, y'all. We ain't saying that.
Go.
Go. Have a time.
Mhm.
That's that's great. We're just saying on
Yeah.
a micro level, right? Also experience him and let's do that differently to where it's not you have to experience him in that way.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that doesn't work for people.
Yeah. And if you're
Yeah.
in a space, if you have any sort of decision making power, if you are a leader in a church, you can say something
You can.
when those moments come up and you know it is like, is, are people at the center of this? Is Christ at the center of this? Like, it's all right to just throw your hand in the air and say, hey, point
Absolutely.
of clarification.
Mhm.
Like, it's okay
Mhm.
to do that because I think the more that we allow, those moments to just go by and we don't say anything, like, that's more and more people that we're not able to, like, really connect with. So, um, Yeah, I think that's a great reflection
Yeah.
question. I'm gonna journal about that.
I'm gonna figure out, here I go with my shoulders slump, like, not again. We gotta create more. We gotta create more spaces, but also
Mhm.
things are necessary, right?
Are
And
necessary.
some people got
Tell
the
the people when your conference is. Is it sold out still? Can I not get in?
well, you can always get in, but it well, let me tell a quick little story before we go, y'all. So I do have a conference. It's yearly. This will be the fourth one. Can't believe that. And we usually create a small space. My whole intention was I want to create a small intimate space for women to practically experience God. So we do a lot of practical things, but we also have worship and a word. And so it's every July. This year it is July 11th at the Huntsville Botanical Gardens. Starts at noon. You can still register to get tickets. So I feel okay. First of all, it's in July. We're recording this on June 3rd. So there are a lot of tickets that are taken, but things change. So you can register because there's a wait list, and when tickets are available, they can be opened up for you to come. But it really is what I've been talking about. Now, no, there's not a stage, but we have speakers. It's a conference. It's not a church service per se, but it really is community to where you get these practical tools. You get to breathe for 4 hours, not worry about your kids, your man, your whatever it is. And you're in the room with people who love God and they just want to be authentic about it, right? Like there's no pretending, there's no performance. People always be like, "What do I wear?" I'm like, "Baby, I've been in shorts every year. It's hot. It's July." We're in shorts and a t-shirt. Like you come as yourself and we create a space where I feel like you can experience God in a way that is comfortable and free. So July 11th is called the Anomaly Conference. Um, Noon, 12 to 4 at the Huntsville Botanical Gardens. And next year, we're just believing it'll be bigger. So we planned every year. The first year was 25, and that was huge. Remember, like 25 human beings in a room with me?
What do you mean?
Huh? I was like, what? This is insane. So we started 25. Then I was like, okay, we might can do 50. So the last 2 years it's been 50. And this year we are up to 100. So yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Anomaly is not a scam, okay?
Anomaly is not a scam. Not only is Anomaly not a scam, we are not scamming. I am not scamming. All the volunteers and they do get gifts. We don't,
And the food last year,
hurt
I was
people.
like, "This
We don't work
this
people down.
is real food."
Real food. Oh, let me say
Ooh.
it's free. Let me say that. It's free this year. The other years it was a very small amount, but this year it's free. So you get food. My mother cooks it with love. She is 71-year-old lady. She cooks. Okay, she does all the
Good.
things. It's
Very
free.
good.
You get a meal. We have giveaways. There's merch there for you to actually purchase. We always give people a gift. You get a bouquet of flowers when you leave. Like it really is just. It's just a
Beautiful
great time.
experience. Yes.
Yeah.
I
So
just wanna make sure you put a little plug in for Anomaly. Yeah.
yes, Anomaly is not a scam. I'm not a scammer.
No,
So,
not a
so
scammer.
come and you will not be scammed because that is not what we're doing. But
Yeah.
I guess that is my contribution. This is what
Mhm.
I do. But it's once a year, so
Yeah.
we might start
Trying to
doing
get
things
her to
small.
do something more consistent throughout the year for people to come to. I'm just saying, I had to say it on the mic so that she couldn't turn me down.
It's crazy. I'm the one who uploads. We will edit that out.
A
I'm
hater was born.
We used to have it was Brave Bible Basics where we literally took topics and talked about them biblically, and it was once a month. That was
Yeah,
actually really cool. We
yeah.
might bring it back.
I'm gonna bully her. She'll do
Okay.
it. All right. Thank y'all. This
We're
was great.
here.
This was a good conversation. I
It
really
was.
appreciate it. Thank you for letting me say my thoughts.
Of
Um,
course.
and honestly, don't forget the reflection question. Like, I think that we can be the change that we want to see.
In the church
Hmm.
and outside the church. Absolutely.
Yes. Amen.
Yeah. All right. We'll see y'all next time.
Hey.
Bye.
How do I start recording?
I'm screaming.